For Reaper Metal Productions, I am Adam of Unbaptized Records, here to make a brand new video for you for this week. And today I'm going to do another version of my cartoons. So I understand that it's day late and dollar short, and I didn't make a video last week either. I was sick and just a little bit out of pocket, so you probably didn't want to see my face when I was a little sick last week. So it was worth not having a video. But I appreciate I'm a little late this week. I'm going to try to start pre-recording these ahead of time. Just had a lot of weird shit going on, and I'm doing cartoons in a truck today because my car is in the dealership, has been for the last month. So, but without further ado, the good stuff is I have actually managed to acquire a few new albums and a bunch of other older albums that I threw together that I've been wanting to listen to. Luckily, since this truck, even though it's 20 years old, it does have a CD player, so at least I have some way to listen to music. So first I'm going to go through some of the CDs I recently got, and then just go through the rest of the ones that I've been listening to on a regular basis. So, yeah, shout out to House Headbangers for this order. And then I also want to mention a couple of albums that are coming out really soon. So, without further ado, first release we have here is Force of Darkness. It's called Heritage of Dark Incantations. This is a compilation. It's like a black thrash album, ending with about 5 or 6 covers. They cover Tormentor, and a bunch of other bands I don't remember, but this is really cool if you're into that sort of South American style black thrash. I absolutely love it. This is the kind of music I really like. The only thing is, because it's a comp of a lot of music from like different 7-inches. So you'll notice you'll have 2 songs that have like the same mix and master kind of feel to them, and then you jump to something that sounds a lot more raw, and then a lot more polished, and then a lot more raw. So you kind of go back and forth. I didn't realize this was a comp initially, so it kind of threw me off. But still a good release, still good music. I just wish I kind of knew ahead of time. I guess I didn't pay attention. It seemed like it was kind of a schizophrenic album, but that's because it's compilation. So pulled from a bunch of different sources, so it makes sense why it sounded all different. Next, we have Morbid Saint with their album Spectrum of Death. This is one I'm very late to the game for. Came out 1989, I believe. This is absolutely amazing. I heard this on Spotify, and I knew I had to get it. I love the song Assassin, so actually fun little story about that. When I was driving with my car, when the song Assassin came on, just by happenstance, that's when my check engine light came on. And, long story short, I haven't seen my car in a month, so maybe this is to blame. I don't know. But I drove the truck, and it seems fine, so maybe it's not the song. I doubt it, but great album. It's classic. Everyone's probably already aware of it. I'm late to the game. Tardy to the party, but you know what? That's all right. Better late than never. Next, we have the band Goat Semen with F Christ, or Fuck Christ, I'll just say it. Little mini CD here. House Headbangers put it out. You probably already know what this is. If you're watching this channel, you might be surprised that I have this, because people don't seem to like the fact that I like Municipal Waste and Toxic Holocaust and other more mainstream metal bands. But you know what? I like the metal bands that are mainstream, underground, everywhere in between. This is a great mini CD. Again, that's South American black thrash, kind of like the war metal stuff, almost like Blasphemy. If you like Blasphemy, Sarcophago, you're going to like this. And again, chances are you probably already know what this is. I'm the one that's more late to the game with it, but yeah, Goat Semen. Fun name. Gotta love it. And another HH release here. This one is Witchtrap, Hungry as the Beast. This is another South American sort of Black Death, Black Thrash. So definitely that theme going on here for a lot of the music I purchased recently, and this one just came out pretty recently. This is a great release. This was a Justin Horville, aka J-Dog, recommendation. Listened to it a little bit on YouTube. Glad I picked it up. Definitely worth listening to. So if you like those previous releases I mentioned, you'll probably like this one too. And continuing with our South American music is the Digibook of Christian Black Forest Domain. The first 3 albums were put out on Digibook. I only pre-ordered this one. It was just the only one that I was interested in at the time. Probably pick up the other 2 as well. Have them all, like the first 3 on LP as well. And I have this album on picture disc. Because of the car situation, I actually missed them. They were touring just recently in Connecticut with Deicide, and unfortunately I missed them. I had tickets and everything, but didn't get to see them, so hopefully next time. But great album, absolute masterpiece. Pick it up if you don't have it. Be kind of surprised if people don't have that. I'm pretty sure most people probably know about that. Now to go into a bit more somewhat obscure bands. This one is the Seattle-based, I guess, technical blackened death metal, if you want to call it, Zthxo, X-O-T-H. their first full-length called Invasion of the Tentacube. If you've seen this name floating around at all recently, it's because they just put out their third full-length, but this is their first one. I think on the Bandcamp they still have a few for sale, and I don't know if you can see, probably not, but yeah, like down here you can see, got the band to sign it. Never met them, but they signed it through Bandcamp before they sold it to me. So some people find that corny and stupid. I think it's cool because maybe I'll never get to see the band, so for me it was kind of cool. Next is an awesome German gore grind band called Plasma. This band is super over the top, like Last Days of Humanity. Came around in like the mid to late 90s, you know, extreme pitch shifted vocals. Pretty much sounds like nothing you've ever really heard. Oh, well, maybe again Last Days of Humanity, but just extreme, almost unrecognizable vocals. Probably no actual lyrics. Again, crazy pitch shifted vocals. And I know Will Romer of Mortician shouted this band out in his Justin Horville interview. I'd heard of them before that, but so if he likes it, chances are, you know, it's extreme. You don't have to take my word for it. Go check the shit out. This is the album Dreadful Desecration. I definitely recommend starting with this. This one's my favorite, but really any of their stuff's good. But there is somewhat of a discernible difference between the way that they recorded the vocals on different albums. I think one of the newer albums I didn't like as much. Definitely like this one though. Definitely recommend. Next we have the Ohio-based, I guess raw punky black metal band Graveworm, Ancient Storms of War. You've probably seen Kevin in the comments. If you haven't, you know, take a look. He's there. Kevin of Graveworm puts out pretty much an album or more a year. This dude is an absolute beast. Cranks these out like nobody's business. Been around since the late 90s. Graveworm's awesome, raw black metal from Ohio. Definitely worth checking them out. Pick up honestly any album, but I think this is actually a repress of one of their earlier ones. And then it's got the Sinister Curse 1994 EP. So, band's been around a long time. Kevin's been cranking this stuff out for a long time. Definitely worth checking them out. I have about 8 of their albums, one on LP as well. Cool shit. Definitely check it out. Now, we're going to switch over to the Eastern world here, coming out of India with Tetragrammacide, with an album that I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce because it's a very long title, but this was my contender for Album of the Year last year. This is just like that Christian, really nice digibook. I also have this on LP. I have a lot of the releases on LP. Really cool band. Extreme kind of noise, sort of like war metal. This one's a lot more of like maybe more traditional technical death metal album. The earlier stuff was much more raw, much more crazy of that war metal style. So if you like that, I definitely recommend checking their older stuff out, especially the compilation that Iron Bonehead put out. This one, again, is much more polished, much more touched up. Sounds a lot nicer. Doesn't really have that sort of overtone to it. Doesn't really have that distortion that the older ones have. So, but still a great album. A lot of noise still mixed in there. Definitely worth checking out. Again, I can't really tell you the name because it's got a super long name. But if you look up Tetragrammacide, you're going to find this. And it's the last release they did. Alright, so going over to Scotland here, we have The Goats, Hellripper, with Complete and Total Fucking Mayhem. This is a compilation that Reaper Metal Productions, hey, never heard of them before, they put out. This is an awesome release. Essentially all releases by Hellripper are awesome, and shout out to James. I actually just pre-ordered that 7-inch that they put out, so should probably be coming pretty soon. But this is fantastic. If you don't know anything by Hellripper, again, it's sort of that speed black metal, similar to some of the first albums I mentioned, but with a little bit less of the South American vibe to it. Definitely check this release out. I recommend maybe doing this first because it's a comp, so it's going to give you a nice little background of a bunch of their music. But their album last year, I think it was also definitely a contender for Album of the Year. So worth checking them out if you haven't already. All right, a couple more albums left. We have Electrocutioner, and if you've heard of them, hey, maybe it's because I did an interview with Mark, the vocalist. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. But this is their newest release, also signed by the band, and this was technically before I met them, but now of course I have met them because, you know, did an interview with them. This is False Idols. Great release. A lot of synth on this. So Mark, if you're seeing this, I will say I know he does synth He also did it for Sadistic Force, so if you look up their album that came out last year, which was great as well, I believe it was last year, he is credited doing some of the synth for it. That's probably the one thing I don't care for that much about it. It sounds fine, but it's a lot of interludes. I want my thrash more thrashy and less interludes. Still great individual songs, so, gotta criticize where, just gotta be honest in this case. Don't want to just say all the good things and talk about none of the bad. So, not that it's bad, but it did kind of interrupt some of the flow of it, but it's still a great album, and they're currently working on their newest album, Harbinger, I believe, so that should be coming out soon, so keep an eye out for that, but don't sleep on this. Definitely still worth picking it up. Alright, second to last, we have Eat the Decay, Nefarious Means. This is a mini CD. This is from Francisco of Jamming Out All Badass. This is a gore grind mini CD. Literally, even it's one of those comes on the actual mini CD, where it's like the 3-inch CD with a little plastic around it. I actually initially was worried this wouldn't play on my player, but it does, thankfully. These are great, and I believe the either 10 or 12 inch of this is coming out soon on Hell's Headbangers. When it does, I'm definitely grabbing this. I also have 2 Eat the Decay patches, and I'll probably get a shirt. Great gore grind. Francisco's awesome. If you don't know him, check out his channel, Jamming Out All Badass. Again, if you're watching this, chances are you already know about it, so why am I telling you? Last but not least, we have Pennsylvania natives, Cruel Bomb, another band that I discovered thanks to this channel, Reaper Metal Productions, because they had sent in a CD to good old Reaper and J-Dog back in the Hellcast days. I loved it, checked them out because of it. Actually, I think I even got a CD because of it, because of being on the Patreon or something. But this is awesome because this is the current release. So this iteration is essentially like a compilation of, I think, all their releases, or most of all their releases. So I think they have like 2 EPs and maybe a demo. This includes that Man-Made album, or EP, and then the rest of their releases, or at least a bunch of other ones. So instead of just having 5 songs, you actually have 5 plus 8, which according to my math, I'm pretty sure is 13. So 13 songs. Cruel Bomb's awesome. Awesome Pennsylvania metal band, and I think they're actually currently touring with Electrocutioner. They played with them once in New York pretty recently, down on Long Island, and I think either now or in the next couple of days or weeks they're going to play with them again. So that's all I got for this week. Let me know what you thought of those bands, any suggestions you have for me based on the stuff that I mentioned. Let me know if you've checked out any of those albums. Again, some of them are kind of recent drops. And as promised, I do want to quickly shout out a few bands that are coming out with albums really soon. So you have the South American band Mayhemic, which really fits into the vibe of a lot of the bands I talked about. I was really surprised to see a lot of people knew about them. I mentioned them in the last video. They're coming out with their newest album, I believe, in maybe a couple of weeks from now. I think pre-orders are ready for CD and LP. And also, of Hell's Headbangers, you have another top band. Very similar vibe to them, but this one's from Australia. It's Destructor. Their newest album, I believe their 3rd full-length album, is also due to come out in October. Pre-orders for the CDs are already out. I'll try to link them in the description. Hopefully LP's coming soon, but the CD I think is coming out on maybe the 23rd of October. Pretty sure the similar date to Mayhemic. And then on top of that, you have Redefining Darkness's Machinations of Fate, or Machinations of Fate, not sure how you say it, but their 3rd album dropped about a year ago, but due to some issues outside of the band and the labels, outside of their, their abilities, this wasn't their fault, but the LPs were kind of on a delay. I pre-ordered mine, and they finally came in the mail about a week ago. I was going to do an unboxing, but it just didn't end up happening, so I shout them out. I'm going to leave them a link in the description as well. Go check them out. Like I said, the album's been out for a while. They've been on Spotify since the date of the drop about a year ago, but there should still be some CDs and LPs available. I think 100 in green, and then another 200 in sort of like an orange blend, and then CDs. So definitely go pick them up. They're awesome. Melodic death metal band from the Ohio area, I believe Ohio, or maybe somewhere in the Midwest, but definitely worth checking them out. So I promise I'll try to leave that in the description. And I promise too to make some more videos so that in case I'm out of pocket, I'm sick, dead, in jail, who knows, there's at least a few more videos so they can go in my absence. So see you in the next video.